What's going on, guys? National Master James Canty III here, and today we are looking at the Magnus Carlsen Chess Tour. We're looking at one game in particular, and this game is Liren with the white pieces versus Magnus Carlsen. So this one caught my eye, guys. It was a Kann exchange. I'm a Kann exchange player. I've been playing it a long time, 5-6 years, and I'm very well versed with it, guys. So let's get right into it. I want to show you guys this game. So let's talk about it, guys. I was hyped when Liren played this, right? And he also missed his chance in the end here. So here we go. E4, C6, D4, D5. Now, exchange Caro Kann. Some people are like, oh, it's very drawish. But, of course, you have to know how to play this. And you got to know the theory behind it. And there's a lot of theory behind it. But Bobby Fischer used this against Petrosian, too, as well. And actually won a very nice game. But Bobby Fischer liked to play this. And this is a nice attacking way to play. I like playing the exchange. So let me show you guys what happens. I also played a pen off Botvinnik too, but this one is pretty venomous. Bishop d3, knight c6, c3, and then he played knight f6 and bishop f4. In these kind of cases, usually, guys, the funny thing is you develop the bishops first before you move your knights. So this is just a way to do it. Sometimes you have queen c7 that avoids bishop f4, which runs into knight e2, and then after bishop g4, you have a castles and queen e1, f3, queen h4. It gets crazy, right? But after bishop f4, we're controlling this diagonal, and we're just going to develop. Pretty easy move here. Bishop g4 is standard. You also have g6 here, which is some of the more grandmaster ways to play is g6. You just get in trouble sometimes if you don't know what you're doing as white. E6 is, I think, a blunder because it immediately blocks the bishop in, and you get mated very fast with the e6 pawn. Not really many other moves here. I think queen b6 is a move, which is answered by queen b3. So bishop g3, bishop g4. And then when Liren played queen b3, Magnus played queen c8. Honestly, I remember Yasser Sirwan was talking about this, just saying, because Yasser actually is he is a Caro Kann player. Oh, he said himself. So he had this position many times, and he was just saying it's a lot of theory to it. But nowadays, that modern players today like to play this as white. So e6, knight g to f3. This is theory, is what he was saying, and this is basic book theory. Now, after castles, usually you would see castle, and what I like here from Magnus, and I see sometimes as well, is the early bishop h5 without even castling, because sometimes you can castle and get into trouble here. Usually, black waits to castle, or at least you should. If you play the Caro Kann, you should wait to castle before white castles here. Or you should wait to castle after white castles. The reason being is because if you don't, I have attacks with knight e5 if you castle before I do. So after castling, they committed the king. We should do the same. But bishop h5 was very nice because maybe you could castle queenside. You can also put the king in the center or keep him on f7 in some cases like he did in the game, I think. Bishop h5, rook a to e1. This is all standard stuff, guys. This is literally how you play the Caro Kann exchange. I mean, I'm watching Liren play here, and I was like, rook a to e1. Like, I know this already, so it feels good to watch it. After bishop g6, we capture on g6, h takes g6, and now this was extremely interesting to me, guys. I have never in my life, even Yasser said this himself, was like, h4 is not a move that is played all the time. Like, I mean, it's very rare ever, right? So let me click the lines. Now here, okay, Engine says best move h3, not h4. And I understand doing the London system fashion, you just want to keep the bishop. So I wonder why he played h4. That definitely is something to think about, guys. And I think I might play the improvement myself and play h4. Because later on in the game, I think he ended up losing this pawn, correct? But then it would have been on h3 if he would have played h3. This is a very long game. I mean, not long, but a very interesting game. And with a lot of compensation and etc. He played h4, though. Knight h5 still happened, attacking the bishop. You want to keep the bishop, so you back him up. Bishop h2 and then knight f6. So he went back, and they repeated moves. You always repeat moves. And then he went bishop g5 instead. And Magnus played an interesting move here, which has been played. I've seen this before in Caro Kann positions like this, is playing the f6 move and then following up with king f7. Putting the king in a nice little cubby hole here. Even sometimes if I'm attacking over here on the king side, f6 is the way to run away, and you have this pawn wall to help you. He played f6. f6, white played bishop e3 because it's forced. Queen to c7 is now on the board, maybe even threatening knight f4. Now, compensation-wise here, for white, guys, looking at this, if you are a Caro Kann exchange player, I'm actually going to put the playlist here because I think this is the first video on it, but we may have some other ones, but we're going to have some a playlist for this because I play this actively, many games on this opening right here. Many games. So With that being said, though, here, guys, like you have to play on both sides of the board here. If you look at black center, this is very strong, very, very strong. And white needs something to do, so you have to break this up. You need to break this up. And studying this opening for white, many different lines, many different ways to go here. I have seen the move here that actually Ding played was c4, which is nice because I've actually seen this in recent studies about the Caro Kann exchange. Instead of always playing on this side of the board, maybe it's stuff like g3, which is actually prone to a sacrifice. You could also double, but c4 makes a lot of sense here. Just breaking up this, I mean, questioning where the king goes, and if the king tried to go to f7, there's some uncomfortable pressure here on the diagonal. So rook to d8, defending the d5 square. C takes d5, e takes. You have to capture, right? Rook to c1 is an availability, but also we have this file here. And then I like this next move, knight to b1, rearranging. Jeremy Seelman has a book, Reassess Your Chess, 4th edition, highly recommend it. But and I actually put it, I'll link that under the video, guys, Reassess Your Chess 4th edition. But it's a great video, and it talks, or video, it's a great book. And he talks about in the book that you should put your knight, you should find the squares that you want to put them on, right? Let's go back. This is a beautiful move. This knight, these are called redundant knights because they hit the same square, basically. But this knight has no squares to go to. So instead of doing anything wild, which he could have played like rook e2, queen b5 looks ridiculous. That doesn't even do anything. Maybe queen c2, but that's kind of like a one-move threat. King f7. We also just got off of the diagonal here, and then we got to find another move to make. This one makes a lot of sense here. Black still needs to regroup and figure out what he's going to do over here. And the knight's coming to c3 to hit the weak d5 square, or d5 pawn. Queen d7, already prepared for it. Also maybe launching an attack eventually. Knight h2, stopping the queen from swinging into g4. Also maybe just freeing up the pawns. Freeing up the pawn to play f4, g4, stuff like that. King f7, and here we go, guys. This was like the critical moment. Peter Lako and Yasser were doing the commentary. They were looking at, they were talking about the engine lines and stuff here, and it was talking about this move, which was played on the board here, g4. And we knew, of course, Magnus knows that this piece is hanging. So shout out to Magnus, of course, right? But with a piece sacrifice, I play this a lot as white. So seeing this was like, wow, that feels like great. I've actually had a similar position, but like this over the board once before. But with this being said, guys, this g4 move. He's down. He's going to lose a piece. He's going to lose a piece, but he's going to get extreme compensation for this. So let's see what happens. Knight a5, hitting the queen. The idea here is to actually divert the queen from the d5 square. So going back here, if you play bishop d6, you would love to centralize it. You would love to centralize the bishop here, put him on a diagonal. But queen takes is check, and that's just not fun. I actually revert back to g2. I'm defending a lot of squares. So the knight kicks the queen first. Queen goes back to d1 because this is just the best move to go to. And now black follows up with bishop d6 on automatic because he's getting everything into play. Yeah, I'm sacrificing the piece, but I'm about to get some serious compensation. Now it's time to go for it. G takes h5, rook takes h5, h4 is hanging. Follow with a dub on the bub here, a double here, double rooks, queen h3. I mean, this could be very scary. This is very easy to go wrong in this position. Ding found the correct move, f4. You got to neutralize some of this stuff. I cannot allow you to just take this knight. Rook takes h4, and then I thought rook f2, but I knew it was one of the rook moves. I just was like, which one's better and why? And he chose rook e2. So let's turn the engine on here. Is there a problem with rook f2? Oh, black's like winning. That is insane here. Man, insane compensation. They prefer black by like minus 1.2 here. Rook f2 would have been almost 2 pawns. Queen f3, bishop b8. Rook e2, knight c6. Now, that's engine move stuff. Because, like, man, but that's insane. He sacked a piece here and got some great play for it, guys. This was like a wild game. Rook to e2, rook d to h8. And honestly, I mean, let's flip the board. Looking at it from black's point of view, like, man, you feel like I'm about to make this king. I mean, it feels like I have, like, not everything, but it feels like I should be winning here. It feels like it. Now, of course, looks are very deceiving in chess, and, you know, feelings are too. So, let's see what happens. Rook d to h8, knight to d2. He develops, also threatening knight f3 to defend. Knight to c4. Here it is. The knight is here. We got to chop this boy off. Knight takes c4, d takes c4, queen c2. Attacking the c4 square, or pawn, and defending the knight. b5 happens, queen to e4. This is a very critical moment as well here. Let's see what the eval says. Evaluation is about equal here. So, like, where was the error? Also, back here, I do want to see, before g4, before g4 happened here. I do want to see what the says. Takes, right? h4, they said that's okay. We get to a position like this. Knight h5, right? Okay, make some moves. Quite simple. And then right here, so they don't even consider g4, guys. g4 is not a move. It is not in the top nothing here. They just said it's too much compensation. Don't even go for it. Now, of course, you are playing a human, half man, half human, because half human, half everything else, right? Because Magnus is a different breed. But here, g4, man, not the thing. So the best moves are knight f3, knight c3. Yeah, I can see knight c3. I mean, I could definitely see some knight c3. g4 is risky though. It's very risky, but it comes at a cost, and you can play it, and you have to like your opponent has to be accurate every move, which is highly unlikely. It's extremely hard to do such a thing here. Rook e2, best move is that -2. Oh my goodness, guys. g5 right now. g5 right now is a crushing move apparently. g5. Okay, so g5, if you take it, what happens if I take it? We gotta test it. If I take it, it's completely losing after rook here. Ooh, man, that sack was nasty. Magnus is such a beast. g5 is supposed to be the move. Now, he didn't play g5. He actually just doubled, which is a natural move. And he was in time trouble around this area, too. He was in time trouble. So time trouble gets us all. So here's the position. b5, the queen gets to e4, rook e8, queen d5. Queen check, snap, knight f3, right? Then we get to this other crazy critical position. Rook check, king f2, and then he plays g5, because they were actually saying bishop takes f4 could be a move. And then you have some pawns for the piece. So it would be like bishop takes, rook takes, like, yeah, I'm up a piece, like whatever. You know, I mean, I'm up a piece as white, but I don't have enough pawns. And I got 3 pawns for the piece, I think. Yeah, so 3 pawns for the piece. Taking here, you actually equalize in a way. I mean, what is the? Yeah, it's like, oh, it's actually +1 after rook takes and king takes. But I mean, honestly, it's very hard. Practical chances are difficult for white. All right, so back to this position. Turn the engine off. So we get here. Knight f3, rook g4. Liren plays king f2, and then Magnus surprised us again. Played g5, g5, and I thought for some reason it felt like it was mate or something, because after taking, which he did, bishop g3 seems extremely scary. Like you just dropped the ball, found the tallest building you can find, and jumped off of the deep end. Absolutely. I mean, this feels terrible, but you just get out the way. King g2. That's what he did. King g2. We expected bishop f4 here. Everyone really did. Is expecting bishop f4, and you go into a perpetual here. Back and forth. The reason being is because if you go like king h1, this piece is hanging. And king h3, I ran into some trouble as well, actually. King h3, check. Was it this? Oh, they said that this line didn't work because knight takes g5. Whew. Man, this is ridiculous. A lot of chess going. A lot of great chess. But king g2, f5 was played by Magnus, and this was given like a star move. Like, that was great, basically. Eval says white's crushing. I mean, plus 2.5, but about basically crushing. Best move they say is king to h3 now, or rook g1. Well, she ended up playing rook g1 in the game after the next, in a similar position. King h3, bishop f4, and then here's where he made the mistake, guys. This is where he made the mistake. Now, commentary was saying, but also it was 2 ways to go here. So I guess here this was probably already done, but what happened in the game was this. Bishop knight e5, actually. Rook takes e5. Because right now this is hanging. You also have a check, so rook takes is best. Pawn takes, and then he checked. And this is the problem. There's like 3 lines here. You either go up this way, or you perpetual, or you go back. So let's check them all. You go here. This is a fatal error. Oh, not fatal, but like check. If you go up, that's the fatal error. You would think rook takes g5 does it, but g6 happens, and you like about to fall out the chair. Oh my goodness, this is a family channel. King h6 and mate on h4. That's gross. Absolutely disgusting. So I would have to move my king here, or not have to, but I could. But then that just falls into this. Oh, but then I take this, but then I take this. You end up losing in game. You're going to lose this in game. So we have to go back here. And what happened in the game was D takes, rook check, king h4, rook g4, and then it was a perpetual. So they just went back and forth, and it was a perpetual. But here's the missed win. Or not even missed win, guys, because we have to take that with a grain of salt. Missed win, because let's check the position. After bishop f4, I saw this too as well. Bishop takes f4, followed by knight e5. If you always have a combination, which they know this, of course, but for you watching, if you don't know this, if you have a combination, try to reverse the move order. And that's exactly what he should have did here. Bishop takes f4, and then followed up with knight e5 after rook takes e2, knight e5 check, hitting f7 and g4. And then rook takes, and I think they showed a line like this, where somehow the rook is getting to the second rank. Maybe g6. But the evaluation says, oh yeah, white's winning. White's absolutely winning. Rook takes g5. Yeah, you could just take this too. Yeah, this is the best. But this is a practical chance you do have a passed pawn, and honestly, this is the way to play. This is the way to play. You do have this passed pawn, which does make a huge difference. Temporarily, this bishop is, stopping these pawns kind of. And we do queen on a dark square. So there's a lot of possibilities here. But he actually didn't go for this. He actually went for the line we showed before, which was this here. After bishop f4, he played knight e5 first. And then he actually didn't even take the bishop because of the perpetual. But guys, this was amazing. If you're a Caro player, or a Caro exchange player playing against the Caro guys, you can check the playlist here. I'm going to put some more videos up here. I think this is the one of the first few ones here in the playlist, guys. But thanks so much for watching the video. This was the game that I wanted to show you guys. We're going to have many more, but I definitely wanted to show you this one because I am a Caro exchange player myself. And this was amazing to see even the ideas that I already put into play, learning a few things here from both sides and figuring out actually what happened watching this exciting game with you guys today. National Master James Canty III here. Thanks guys for watching. Make sure you share, like the video, put the comments under the video, and I'll see you guys on the next video.